St. Louis sports fans, go deeper with STL Sports Central Insiders. Get exclusive access to Bernie, Randy, Claves, Jamal Mayers, and more. Plus, your chance to watch a Blues game in the alumni box with Jamal himself. Monthly giveaways, Bernie's columns all week, and support for local sports media. Join now at stlsportscentral.com.
Hey there, how you doing today? I hope you're doing great, and welcome to the Bernie Show on STL Sports Central for this Thursday, December the 11th. Christmas 2 weeks away. Presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I'm Bernie Miklasz. Been writing and talking about St. Louis area sports since 1985. I do 5 videos and I write 5 columns each week here on STL Sports Central. Please consider subscribing to become a STL Sports Central insider. Get a lot of benefits, and you get access to all of my columns. I also do a weekly visit with Randy Carricker on a show. I believe Randy and I are going to be hosting a chat with insider subscribers early next week. We'll fill you in on the details. And you can catch me frequently throughout the week on multiple shows on KMOX and FM and AM, pardon me. So let's get to the topic of the day. Chaim Bloom didn't make any trades during the baseball's annual winter meetings. Should we be concerned about that? Listen, let me just get this out of the way. I honestly think, and I understand that these folks are just a small percentage of Cardinals fans, but I was actually surprised that there was a lot of grumbling and criticism and barking about Chaim Bloom on Wednesday night after he left Orlando, the site of the meetings, without making a trade. I repeat, most Cardinals fans, I believe, are intelligent and they understand that these things are going to take time. And there is absolutely nothing unusual or abnormal about leaving the winter meetings without making a trade. It is actually the normal thing. It is the norm. For the record, the Cardinals' 2026 exhibition game schedule opens 73 days from now. So do the math. There's no need to have a premature and ridiculous case of anxiety this early in the offseason. Bloom has 10 weeks to go, really, before it really matters as far as the 2026 season, as far as making trades go. It's also important to remember that MLB's annual winter meetings are a marketing event. It's a media hype event. It's also a job fair where people go to the meetings and look for a gig with a team or to just make contacts that can lead to such a job in the future. I'm not sure why this happened. I'm not sure why this happens, and I certainly don't blame the fans for this. But for as long as I can remember, the winter meetings have been comically overblown when, they are mostly much ado about very little. But for some reason, we never learned from that. Every year around this time, we in the media get all hepped up in anticipation of some circus maximus of huge trades and massive free agent signings and action. And then fans come to expect that because they like to think that we know that we're talking about. And a lot of us don't know what we're talking about, and a lot of us will hype it up to get more attention for our media outlet. And what happens is when no major trades are made, guys like Chaim Bloom are criticized for coming home with nothing, as if the trade deadline expired the second that the winter meetings ended. It's absolutely asinine, right? And the problem isn't with baseball executives who don't make important, possibly franchise-changing trades in a 2.5-day window at the winter meetings. The problem is that the expectations are falsely inflated to absurd proportions, and we then ignore the obviously reality that big trades will happen later in the calendar. Just a reminder that Christmas is 2 weeks away, as I mentioned at the top, and unless something changed here, I don't think that Christmas is the reporting date for spring training. I mean, I could be wrong, of course. There were 3 prominent free agent signings during the winter meetings. Pete Alonso got a big deal from Baltimore. Kyle Schwarber re-signed with the Phillies. Big deal. And closer Edwin Diaz jumped from the Mets, got a big deal from the Dodgers. Pardon me. There were no splashy, buzzworthy trades during the 2025 winter meetings, and 7 of the top 10 free agents remain unsigned. So why were we expecting this bonanza of trades and signings and people just rushing through lobbies with their hair on fire? It doesn't happen anymore. Why do we think it will happen? In the good old days, yes. I don't have to tell the Cardinals fans who were around at the time, men like Whitey Herzog would show up at the winter meetings and it was showtime. It was action. It was lights, camera. Let's go. Let's get something done. And future Hall of Famers like Ozzie Smith and Bruce Sutter were reeled in by the White Rat during his winter meetings fishing expedition. He would swing crazy 3-way trades that made future Hall of Fame closer, for example, Riley Fingers, a Cardinal for about 5 minutes before Herzog flipped him to Milwaukee in the deal that also included Cardinals catcher Ted Simmons going to the Brewers, another future Hall of Famer. That stuff is fun. It's wild fun. But it's in the baseball past and no longer exists. These days, early December is early. And, take that for what the word means. It's early. Baseball front offices, this is a big part of this too. And let me explain this. Baseball front offices, it's not just one guy making a trade, maybe one guy and his assistant making a trade with the other team. No. Baseball front offices come equipped with a large contingent of analysts, assistant GMs, assistant this, assistant that, other support staff. No wonder why big trades aren't made this early. How can you make quick trades when every team's got 10 people reviewing every proposal over and over and over again and having meetings and meetings and meetings and deliberations and running every potential trade through projection models 1,000 times? How are you going to make a quick trade with all that going on, right? Little different from the early 1980s. These days, it takes a village to make a baseball trade. So that's one of the reasons, a big one, why it moves kind of slowly. But we, including moi, got to be a lot smarter about realizing that. I thought Cubs president of baseball operations, Jed Hoyer, summed it up very well before he left Orlando yesterday. Quote, "We have a real focus in a lot of areas," Hoyer told the reporters who were wondering, what if the Cubs were still going to try to improve the rotation and yada, yada, yada. Hoyer continued, quote, "It will lead to activity, but I can tell you, it will lead to activity, but I can't tell you when. We're not going to do bad deals just to do something quick. We're not going to push deals you don't believe in." That's exactly the correct way to think about this. And other general managers, president of baseball operations said the same thing, including Brian Cashman of the Yankees. And Hoyer's explanation certainly applies to Chaim Bloom, who is leading a rebuilding, and every move he makes is going to be crucial to the Cardinals' future. And he's got to take plenty of time to weigh trade offers for Cardinals players that come in. You don't just rush into this. More on that in a minute. But first, I want to remind you, I do want you to rush into this. DraftKings is officially open for business in Missouri, live and legal. So let's go. Missouri residents, time for you to get started on DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook app for good reasons. It's great. So come on in and join the fun. Now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, more, a lot more. And you can do it all from your phone. It is safe, it is secure, it's easy to use, and it's a whole lot of fun. Missouri fans know all about game day in any sport. Tailgate parties, the noise, the passion, the excitement, the vibe, the celebration. And now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every touchdown pass and every goal scored. You can be a winner. So take your shot. Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no response, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code STL Sports. New Missouri customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code STL Sports. And don't forget to use that to unlock the $300 in bonus bets with just that initial $5 wager. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. The crown is yours. All right, segment number 2. President of Baseball Ops, Chaim Bloom's got a lot to think about. He's a very, 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 very busy man. 12 teams, maybe more, have reached out to him about the coveted super utility asset, Brendon Donovan. Several teams have asked about Cardinals first baseman Willson Contreras. And that includes the Mets, who just lost their first baseman when Alonso signed with the Orioles. Contreras has got a no-trade clause, but he would be willing to waive it depending on the team and the destination. Other Cardinals on the trade block include reliever JoJo Romero. I would expect him to definitely get traded. You got outfielder Lars Nootbaar, who's a maybe. Third baseman Nolan Arenado, who is, please make it happen, but there ain't much interest. And there's possibly Nolan Gorman, the would-be slugger. I don't think Bloom and his staff are ready to give up on Gorman. They want to have a chance to see if they can solve his problems. But you can't rule out a trade if the right offer comes along. And that's the whole point, right? The right offer's got to come along. The winter meetings gave Bloom a chance to explore, have talks with other teams, lay the groundwork on possible deals. The winter meetings aren't the place, not anymore, with rare exception, not the place where the big trades are made. The winter meetings are a preliminary round, the place where trades are discussed before they are consummated. And it will take many, many weeks in some instances for that to happen. Bloom traded starting pitcher Sonny Gray to the Red Sox on November the 25th, and he didn't hesitate to press the button on the deal as soon as the Red Sox made the offer that Bloom wanted, and the Cardinals also made it happen to get the prospect they wanted by including $20 million in the deal, which the $20 million that would have gone to Gray from their end. So that told me that Bloom can be decisive and he can close on an acceptable trade proposal as soon as it lands in front of him. Romero can become a free agent after 26 seasons, so it makes sense to move him in a trade just as they moved Romero. Even if, as far as Donovan, even if there are, quote, only 7 or 8 teams interested in Donnie, Bloom's going to have a lot of stuff to consider and a lot of stuff to think about. Donovan can't become a free agent until after the 2020 season, so that's 2 more years where he could play for the Cardinals or the team that acquires him, and that raises his trade value. Now, Bloom doesn't have to trade Donovan, and I've never said he had to trade Donovan. I think he should trade Donovan, which was different than saying, no, you must trade him. I do believe that Bloom obviously doesn't have to trade Donovan if he is getting a bunch of proposals that he considers to be lesser deals, inferior deals, or forget about it deals. And once again, getting back to the time consideration, it isn't like Bloom's got final offers lined up to consider right now, because he doesn't. You got to prime the pump. You got to make the other teams nervous, and chances are good you're going to get something you like. But that time isn't here right now. With so many teams involved, the Donovan talks are time-consuming. They're really thorough. They're probably repetitive in this dance of give and take as the teams circle around each other. Bloom is absolutely correct to keep those discussions going until he gets what he wants, until the deal comes along that he says, yes, that's the one. As a Cardinals fan, don't you want to see him try like hell to maximize the return for Donovan in trade instead of rushing into something all helter-skelter and doing something stupid that he may regret later? I say take your time. Once again, spring training not open until mid-February, okay? Time is on Bloom's side, period. And he has a player that a lot of teams want, period. So Bloom has the advantage here, and he should use it instead of just making it easy and rolling over and capitulating. The no-trade clauses held by Arenado and Contreras make it more difficult to trade him for obvious reasons, and the interest in Arenado is low. But Contreras still has an impact bat. Teams are looking for right-handed hitters who have power and get on base, play good defense, and he did play good defense at first base last season. So Bloom ain't going to just donate Contreras to the Mets, unless, of course, the only priority would be to dump salary. But in Contreras' case, the salaries are reasonable over the next 2 seasons. It ain't like he's making $30 million a year. I want Bloom to take his time because I'm sure there is going to be a market for Contreras that'll pay off for the Cardinals. But I want him to take his time, because it means he's doing what he thinks is best for the Cardinals and their future. That goes for Nootbaar and Gorman and any other Cardinal who could be a trade candidate. When I return from my third segment of the Bernie Show, I'm going to look at this question. Okay, what happens if Bloom doesn't get what he wants? I have some thoughts and a suggestion. But before that, I have a message about BlueChew. Fellas, it's time to rise up. And BlueChew just put an exciting new product on the market. I'm talking about a product that is next level, championship belt, gold-plated energy. BlueChew Gold, that's the name. BlueChew Gold is the newest innovation from the number one chewable ED brand in America. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill. This is a 4-in-1 beast that's setting the gold standard for performance. BlueChew Gold has additional ingredients to stimulate blood flow to launch your rocket and keep it working at a high altitude. BlueChew Gold dissolves under your tongue and works in as little as 15 minutes. That means you can get it busier, quicker, and stay in the game longer. Elevation without hesitation. I'll put it this way. The next time she sends you one of those, hey, are you up? Text messages, just answer with a picture of BlueChew. You can make your life easier by getting harder. This time, harder means easier. So discover your options at BlueChew.com. We got a special deal for you, our listeners. 10% off your first month of BlueChew Gold with the code Bernie. That's promo code Bernie. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. You want to learn more about the new BlueChew Gold and all that. And we thank BlueChew for helping the guys out there, but also for sponsoring the Bernie Show and giving me the chance to talk to the guys to give them some advice or guidance or ideas. All right, let's get busy in segment number 3. I got some final thoughts on the Brendon Donovan situation. I'm focusing on Donovan only in this case because he's Bloom's most valuable trade chip. Number one, the longer the Bloom, the longer Chaim Bloom waits. I haven't had enough coffee today. The longer that Bloom waits to trade Donnie, the more he will hear about his days in Boston. Oh, remember that in Boston when he was running the Red Sox, his first big job, he was really indecisive. He couldn't pull the trigger on trades. He just hesitated all the time. This has been greatly exaggerated, but there is some truth to that. And I think he's a better guy, he'll be a better at running the Cardinals because of that experience in Boston. Number 2, if Bloom doesn't receive the exciting deal that he's waiting for and that he expects for Donovan, there's no reason to sell low on Donnie. With top prospect JJ Wetherholt set to make his major league debut in 2026, the Cardinal infield's going to be crowded, yeah. But these are not one-dimensional people as far as what they can do. Wetherholt can play second base, shortstop, and third base. Cardinals would prefer to have him at second, but they played him a lot at shortstop in the minors, and he played third base in college ball in West Virginia. He has said he can handle all three. Donovan can play, I don't have to tell you this, but Donnie can play second base, third base, left field, right field, first base. They've even used him in center a little bit. Nolan Gorman can play second base and third base, and he's an effective designated hitter. That's why moving Arenado's tired bat is absolutely mandatory. His presence would mean a ridiculous logjam of infielders, and it would restrict this Cardinals flexibility that I just talked about with these movable pieces around the field, the different defensive positions, and in the lineup. But Arenado at third would clog that up a lot more, and the Cardinals just can't have it. But when you have Donovan who can play all of those positions, and when you have Wetherholt's versatility, and you can use Gorman at a couple spots if you keep him, including DH. Surely there are ways to play, especially Donovan and Wetherholt, as much as you want to, and you can keep Gorman pretty busy. Again, that's based on Arenado not being here. And though his trade value is at its highest right now, Donovan can always be moved later on, maybe at the 2026 trade deadline, maybe before the 2027 season, but his value would be lower then because he's not 2 full years left as it is now before he can become a free agent. And if Gorman gets traded, which would surprise me, that would ease the logjam as well. The other thought is this. Bloom praises Donovan repeatedly, and his respect for Donnie is genuine. Well, that said, if Donovan is that great, that good, very good, great, vital, whatever you want to phrase it as, if he's all that the way Bloom sees him, then the Cardinals should commence negotiations on a long-term contract extension would keep Donovan in St. Louis. This is predicated on Bloom not getting the deal that he wants. Well, then he got to go make a deal with Donovan, in my opinion. Listen, I'm not waffling on this. I prefer to see a trade because flipping Donovan would add more young talent to the Cardinals pipeline. And that's the whole point of the damn rebuild. And Bloom has said many, many times that his priorities are based on what's best for the long term. That applies to the Donovan situation. So, yeah, I'd like to see him traded. I love him, but I'd like to see him traded. I'm pragmatic about this. But with that in mind, from the Cardinals' standpoint, you don't keep Donovan unless you're prepared to go all the way long-term and make him part of the rebuild that should lead to better days. So you either trade him and get the deal you want, or you keep him and then you take it to the next level. The Cardinals are going to be ready to contend in 2026, and I would say probably not 2027. But they're going to be making progress. They're going to be getting closer, and Donovan, a team leader, can help get them there. Once again, I prefer to see Donovan traded for reasons I've explained, but obviously there is a case to be made for keeping him if Bloom doesn't get what he wants in a trade. One way or another, Donovan can help the Cardinals win in the future as a trade piece now or as a fixture going forward in the St. Louis lineup and in the clubhouse. What I don't want to see is another boring and ineffective halfway measure from the John Mozeliak playbook. So if Bloom wants Donovan to stay, then Bloom and Cardinals ownership must go all in on Donovan. The Cardinals must make it clear if they don't trade him, they got to make it clear that they believe Donovan can help lead them to where this club wants to go, and that their feelings, their positive feelings about Donovan can only be validated by a long-term contract extension. So thank you all for watching. Please post your comments. All opinions are welcome here, including those who diss me. That's good. Appreciate your opinions. And thanks to DraftKings for presenting the Bernie Show here at STL Sports Central. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Hello there, I'm Bernie Miklasz, and I want to take a minute to brag about everything that we're doing here on STL Sports Central. But first, if you don't mind, I'm going to tell you a quick story because I think you need to hear it. When this site began a few months ago, whenever it was, right, I was curious to see what I would find here. I love sports content, but I can be a little picky. I want it to be consistent. I want it to be smart. I want it to be fun. I want it to be something I can count on. Not every now and then, but every day if possible. Well, listen, I got all of that and then some. I was simply blown away by the huge amount of content, good content, quality content, a variety of content on this site. Hey, there's Cardinals coverage with Card Central 365, which is there for you every single day, 365 days a year. You're going to stay up to date with a great cast of hosts. My friends that include Brendan Schaefer, Mike Claiborne, Joe Roderick, Stephen Carey, Ryan Fagan, and many more. And that's not all. There's post-game shows after every game. In fact, this is about the Cardinals coverage, but there's post-game shows after every game, any St. Louis sports team, college or pro. It's amazing. And these post-game shows feature the hosts that I've already mentioned, plus in terms of the Cardinals post games, plus Sarah Daly and Ethan Hannaford. And I'm in the bullpen in case they want to bring the old reliever out so I can holler about something. Hey, long story short, and I wasn't very short, but here's the story. I was so impressed with STL Sports Central, I knew something right away. I wanted to be part of the team, and so I am. Here I am. Please join us all. There's nothing like this in the St. Louis sports market. There is nothing like it in this market. There never has been, and we are breaking that ground. We are changing the way St. Louis sports fans consume their sports content. I'm proud to be on the squad. Thank you, and join us.